In this episode of Get Real with Rajiv, I'm going to be answering questions around, is working from home a bad idea? I'm also going to talk about how do you calendar and have clarity of your plans for 6 months to a year. We're also going to be answering the question of, is it a good idea to work with your spouse? And finally, I'm going to be talking about if you're creating content and you're not getting followers and you're not getting business out of that content and you're losing your enthusiasm, then how do you need to change the way you view things? If you'd like to find answers to these questions, then tune into episode number 68 of Get Real with Rajiv. Hello everyone, welcome to episode number 68 of Get Real with Rajiv. Like every single episode, we are going to be answering 4 questions. And today, Pawan is going to be the voice of your questions. So Pawan, what's the first question?
We have Nakul Saxena asking, I've heard a lot of people talking about planning and prioritization, and some of them have plans for the next 6 months. My to-do list keeps me overwhelmed. Everything seems important. I feel like doing everything now, and I'm not able to plan more than 2 weeks. How do I manage my list and create a calendar for 6 months?
Well, Nakul, firstly, be kind to yourself. I think comparison is the biggest trap, and when you compare your journey with someone else's journey, you end up feeling that you're not enough, you're not good enough, there's something wrong with you, and that clearly reflects in your question. So stop comparing. Each one of us have our own unique journey, and we've got to go through that unique journey. Having said that, to be able to take your clarity, your prioritization, your planning to the next level, here is what I would recommend. You can have long-term goals. You can have goals for 5 years, 3 years, 1 year. Now, once you have long-term goals, then you take those goals and you turn them into focus areas, which means if you have goals for a year, then you turn them into focus areas saying, what will I focus on for the first 3 months? What will I focus on for the next 3 months? What will I focus on in the 9th month? What will I focus on in the 10th, 11th, 12th month? Break it down into focus areas. So it starts with goals, then you break it down into focus areas, and some activities may require focus throughout the year. So you need to have that clarity as well. And once you've broken things down into focus areas, you actually have relieved yourself of carrying that burden of that goal on your head. When you clearly say, hey, I will pay attention to this aspect in the month of August, then clearly you've relieved yourself saying, in August we will talk about this, in August we will think about it. That in itself will make you feel a lot more lighter. So break it down into focus areas. And then from there, calendar it into weekly and daily outcomes and tasks. So whatever is an immediate focus area, break that down into what do you need to do in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 of each month. And then from each week, break it down into what do you need to do each day. So I think it's a game of chunking it down. First, create macro goals, then have focus areas allotted across different phases of time, and then break it down into targets, timelines, tasks, which are calendared on a weekly and daily basis. If you do this, Nakul, you should be very proud of yourself because you are taking a journey one step at a time and you're creating progress towards your goals. And most importantly, you have a lot of clarity of where your life is headed. If you can do this much, I think it's more than enough. With that, let's move to the second question for this week. So Pawan, what's the second question?
We have Vidya asking, although the world has slowly started opening up to normalcy, my business has my team working from home for the foreseeable future. It was a good change in the beginning, but right now it has started taking a toll on my health greatly, and I'm not able to lead effectively. My team too has started losing morale. How do I handle this?
Well, Vidya, I personally believe work from home is a bad idea. And I'll tell you why I believe it's a bad idea. When the COVID outbreak happened, yes, it was a necessity. We all had to adapt. We had to go with the flow. Safety was a priority. But now as the world is coming back on its feet, I think that honeymoon period of staying at home and enjoying work-life balance and having more time for self, now that time for self is killing most people because there is no boundary when you're working from home. There's no boundary between personal life and professional life. I know people are working longer hours when they are sitting at home, and some people who are escapists are not working at all and they are just making claims. So I personally feel work from home is a very, very bad idea, purely because I think organizations are built on culture and human connection, and work from home kills that culture, kills that human connection. We are not robots who have to do specific tasks, We are teams that come together, have a goal, we are aligned, we collaborate, we ideate. That's how businesses are built. It's not built by making people work in silos. So personally for me, work from home is a bad idea. It was a necessity at one point of time, but I think you need to look at bringing your team back to work. Now I know some people may argue to this, some people may resist it, and they may say, but Rajiv, I'm having more time for myself, I'm having more time for my family because I'm saving so much more time by not traveling to work. Well, then that's not your real solution. Your real solution is stay close to your workplace. Don't stay miles away from your workplace if you really care about saving your time and your energy and not wasting it in travel. The critical aspect for every person to understand, and this is not just I'm talking from a business perspective or from an organization perspective, even from an individual's perspective, you need to have that distinction of space. That home is the place you go back to and you unwind. Work is the place you come to and focus to get things done. And I think with work from home, people are losing that distinction, which is not healthy for even the family, which is not healthy even for the individual, and it's definitely not healthy for the organization because you're losing connection. Now, I know some may argue saying, but Rajiv, large corporate organizations are looking at work from home as a permanent solution. Isn't that the way of the future? Well, don't give me this corporate garb of way of the future and all of that. Most of these large organizations don't mind people working from home because it saves them a lot of money. It saves them money on transport. It saves them money on cafeteria expenses. It saves them money on other overheads. So they're saving a lot of money. It's largely a business decision. Most corporate organizations don't care about words like culture. Culture is only a word that is thrown around in a meaningless HR conference to make themselves feel good. But small and medium businesses are built on culture. They are built on human connection. And as a small and medium entrepreneur, you should never ever refer to the practices of large organizations because then you're going to make a big mistake. It's like applying a different context to a different set of people. So Vidya, personal recommendation, get back to working from office. Get your team together, experience that connect, align them. Like you rightly said, the morale of people has gone down. Lift it up and let them experience human connection again. Workplaces are not robotic factories where things are done through only AI. AI is also built by human beings. So human connection, very important. With that, let's move to the third question for the week. So Pawan, what's the third question?
The third question is from Ganesh. I started posting education content online since the lockdown started. I've already posted about 15 content marketing videos until now. The followers haven't shown any dramatic results. This really demotivates me because I'm putting in a lot of time and effort towards creating this content. How do I ensure that I gain a lot of followers so that I can keep creating content with enthusiasm?
Well, Ganesh, I want to say something you may not like, but you need to hear it. With the amount of content that is getting generated on a daily basis on social media, 15 videos amounts to nothing. And you mentioned you started doing this from the beginning of the lockdown till date. So we are talking March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We are talking 10 months, 15 videos. That amounts to nothing, Ganesh. Now I empathize that for you creating content was a new thing, it took a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, it doesn't come to you naturally, so it seems like an exercise that you're paying so much focus to, so much energy to, so much attention to, but it's yielding you no return. But I'm telling you, with social media is difficult today. It's not like what it was 3 years, 5 years back. It's a different ball game altogether. 15 videos is nothing, Ganesh. So first, you need to accept that. The second thing is I'd like to challenge you on multiple aspects. I'd like to challenge you on the aspect of why are you making content and why are you doing these videos? What are you expecting these videos to do for you? And third, what are you chasing by doing these videos? So I want to challenge you on these three aspects. Firstly, if you are creating content and you are doing videos thinking you will get followers and those followers will give you business, then you're wrong. You will not get business that way. Because today, one has to create content because it's a necessity, it's a need, it's a hygiene activity, it's a proof of your existence. It's like building a social asset. When you are putting out content consistently, you're building social assets online. So when people are searching for you or people want to check more about you and they find that content allows them to build a perception about you. So one has to do content today because it's a necessity, it's a hygiene activity, it's a social asset, not because it will get you followers and get you business. That era is gone. Okay. The second thing is, what are you chasing? Your question says, I'm not getting more followers. So let me tell you something. You're chasing the wrong metrics. This is not about getting more followers. This is about putting out content and getting people to have conversations with you. The way your content has to be delivered online is that it should compel people who are resonating with your content to drop your message, drop a comment, share that content. It is about engagement and it's not about followers. And I'll tell you this little joke. Go and check at least 5 people who are creating content similar to your domain and find 5 people who have more than 100,000 followers. And then go to every single post that they put and check out of those 100,000 followers, how many people are actually viewing those posts or commenting on those posts or liking those posts or sharing those posts. And I'll tell you, most of those people who have 100,000 plus followers have not earned those followers. They've just bought those followers. And you will see their engagement ratios are nothing. You'll have 4 likes, 3 comments. That only tells you that those 100,000 followers are meaningless. So you're chasing the wrong metrics. You are running behind vanity. You're running behind show, what looks good. But it's not about what looks good. I rather have 400 followers than 10,000 followers. But I rather have, out of those 400 followers, at least 20, 30 of them constantly engaging with every single post of mine than having 10,000 followers, out of which only 2 people are engaging with every post of mine. So you need to chase the right metrics, my friend. It's about engagement. It's about turning that engagement into conversations, chatting with people on DMs, setting up calls with them offline, nurturing them, understanding their needs, and then selling. That's what it takes. Now, I know when I break this down for most people, listening to this, most people give up on social media because they say, this sounds like too much effort. Let me tell you something. It is too much effort, but this is the best possible effort you can put in your business because the scale of reach that it can give you is phenomenal. Of course, I can go on about how you increase your reach, how you get more followers, how you get more engagement, but that's a training in itself. But I want to set the right perspective first for you. I hope this made sense to you. So with that, let's go to the 4th and final question for this week. So Pawan, what's the 4th question?
We have Abhijit asking, they say working with your spouse is a bad idea. Your thoughts?
Well, it's definitely a bad idea if you and your spouse do not have complementary skills. And it's a bad idea even to have business partners if you do not have complementary skills. If you have the similar skill set and similar expertise, then it becomes a subconscious competition within the business. So working with a spouse works really well if you have complementary skills. If one of you is more operations focused and the other is more marketing and sales focused, that's a perfect partnership. So it's definitely a bad idea if you don't have complementary skills. It is also a bad idea if you are not truly in love with your spouse, and if you're the sort of spouse who finds peace when you are not with your spouse. You know, people crack jokes about, oh, I'm so happy my wife is going to her mother's place, or I'm so happy my husband is not at home. It's a bad idea for such people because it truly means that they don't like being together, they don't like spending time with each other. So it's a bad idea if you're not truly in love with each other. And I would say this, that working with your spouse does not damage your personal relationship. In fact, working with your spouse brings out the true colors or the true flavor of your personal relationship. Because think about it, it amplifies and it showcases to you, do you like to be with each other? It amplifies and it showcases to you, do you trust each other? Do you respect each other? Do you uplift each other? Do you feel like dominating each other? Or do you feel like controlling each other? It brings out the true flavor of your relationship. It's just an amplifier. It's not the reason why your relationship gets spoiled. It's the reason why you can see the true strength of your relationship. So choose carefully. Question your own relationship and ask yourself what's your relationship status, and then decide whether you should work with your spouse. I personally love working with my wife because I think we kind of complete each other. We enjoy being with each other. So from that point of view, remember, working with your spouse does not damage your relationship. It brings out the true strength of your relationship. It shows you your core relationship ethos, for the lack of a better word. I hope that makes sense, Abhijit. With that, we come to the end of episode number 68 of Get Real with Rajiv. If you liked what I shared, then share it with more people and send in your questions for the next episode in the comment section below. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.